But if there's one reason to watch it is for the animation. It's stunning. I watched too much sci-fi, that's another thing. From analog tech to striking cosmic backdrops, let's talk about this Korean movie. Lost in Starlight is a Korean sci-fi romantic drama released in 2025, and it was so beautiful visually that I decided to give you a little review. But first, the plot summary. A young woman joins a Mars mission hoping to learn more about her mother's past expedition. Before leaving, she meets a musician with a passion for restoring old tech. As the launch approaches, the growing bond between them is tested by the distance ahead. This is not an anime, but anime-influenced animation. It merges cyberpunk with Studio Ghibli, to me. Because the light and color palette are hopeful, warm, and nature is integrated in the scenes despite the setting being a big city, Seoul, in South Korea. Something that caught my attention were the ads, which were holograms, but they were not as pervasive as you would expect in something like Blade Runner, for instance. I mean, they are still obnoxious, but less visible during the day and bright at night. But the entire environment is not as bleak as Blade Runner, for instance, or other sci-fi, usually cyberpunk, tends to be bleak. And this was not at all. It's also set in a near future in 2051, and I love to see the type of tech that they showed, for instance when they are communicating via holograms. But in this movie, these holograms adapt to space, meaning that you can interact with them and they can walk around the room with you. Something I haven't seen as much. Yes, maybe we could talk about the Doctor in Star Trek, but in there he looked like a human being. He didn't look like a hologram most of the time. Whereas here it's clear which is a hologram and which is reality. I also appreciated the fact that they use drones, which are the most plausible way we will get delivery in the near future, or at least it feels like a possibility. I enjoyed this beautiful contrast between outdated tech and tools versus the futuristic setting. See, for instance, the old device, which is a record player that she needs to get repaired, but also the guy who works at the repair store who asks her to write on paper, and she seems to not be familiar with pens and paper. And they also use two devices that are potentially in our future as smartphones. One is something that you put on the temple, and the other is a watch type of thing. And the one that you put on the temple reminded me of the movie Landscape with Invisible Hand, and other sci-fi movies actually. So that is quite common, and who knows, maybe at some point we will use a device like that. But even smaller details that really appear for a couple of seconds or don't really play a role in the story, such as the foldable wardrobe, I thought it was really neat. And we don't see them for long, but there are cube apartments that reminded me of a building complex in Tokyo that was recently demolished, but they had a really similar structure with these cubes. These were all the positive aspects that I noticed while watching this movie, and I had to take notes because I wasn't expecting so much detail and such a warm and bright depiction of a sci-fi movie. And all of these were also towards the beginning of the movie. Now, a couple of things that were disappointing to me. First, I didn't really like how their faces were drawn. There was something that was off to me. I cannot pinpoint exactly what, or maybe I'm too used to anime having a very specific type of, features. I'm not sure because, again, this is a Korean production and maybe in their tradition, if they have something like manga, I don't know, I guess, but maybe they have something like that and they use this type of facial features. I don't know, but there was something I didn't really like and that was distracting to me. and I didn't buy the romance at all. It was way too fast, and maybe this comes with the fact that, again, this is Korean, and I watched K-dramas, which are very long, and usually the main characters take ages to even come close to one another. So being a movie, they didn't have the same time to let this romance develop as they would do in a K-drama, and maybe that's my fault. Maybe I was expecting something different, but I didn't buy it at all, and most importantly, I didn't want to see a romance. I was looking for a sci-fi movie. And so it bothered me a little, the fact that actually this is first a romance and second a sci-fi. And maybe this made it quite predictable. I was hoping for a more science-heavy movie in general, but I wasn't interested in the musician plotline or the entire focus on the male protagonist and his passion for music. But this, I think, is just a me issue, because whenever a movie is about a musician, I'm not super interested, or that is not the reason why I will watch the movie. Maybe it's because of the genre or a certain actor or something else, but I don't feel as involved in a story about a musician, which is funny because I used to sing, I used to play the guitar and so on. And yet in movies and TV shows, I'm not really interested in that. So I was even tempted to skip some parts that were showing the male protagonist and his career. But that's just a me problem. Overall, one reason why I think most sci-fi fans might not enjoy the whole movie and just these first few scenes, which were intriguing indeed, is because the story was predictable. Or maybe I watched too much sci-fi, that's another thing, and so maybe you will enjoy it, I don't know. But if there's one reason to watch it, is for the animation. It's stunning. And now I want to hear your opinion on Lost in Starlight. If you watched it, what do you think of it? Do you agree with anything I said, or do you have a different preference? For instance, you love movies about musicians. Let me know in the comments. And now that you watched this, check out the video on the screen. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss my upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.